Hello and welcome. And today the topic and the title is quite simple. There's a fire on the mountain. Now, here we are again, and there's a fire on the mountain, but nobody's running. I mean, there's the adage that goes that, when you see your friend's chain on fire, you get a pail of water and put it next to yours because you never know when yours is going to be on fire. But in our case, it's our own chin that's on fire. And yet still, we just don't want to put our chin in this water to douse it. Next year by this time, I'm sure I would invite my guest again, and if we record this show and keep it, we'll play it and it will still be valid. What is it about us that don't make us wake up to the dangers of fire? One of the serious enemies that has no respect for anyone, no race, class, religion or whatever. It comes in and consumes everything, and the bill and the hurt and the damage it leaves behind is astronomical. And yet still, every year, we go on saying the same things again. My name is Nana Sakwa. This is PM Express. When I come, I have experts who are going to talk fire. Don't move. Thank you very much for staying as a fire on the mountain, and that's what we're discussing today. It's a very pathetic, it's a very sad state of affairs. If you have any love for Ghana, this is painful. I mean, to have the whole reserve of medical stock just raised down for no reason whatsoever. Preventable, if I may say. Initial cost out is what, 237 million Ghana cedis burnt. Just like that. Where do we go from here? With me to find out how we stop this from happening, because it's just one too many. Just recently, in the Ashanti region, there was a stockpile of meters, electric meters, which also got burned down. I mean, 2015 is basically, what, few days old, and we have two major fires with pockets of little ones, which is literally eating us up, if I may say. To my immediate left, my own brother, Nanaya Wakwada, Executive Director, Bureau of Public Safety. Nanaya, welcome. And also my senior brother, Billy Anaglati, Deputy PRO for Ghana Fire Service. Very hardworking. He's been up since about 4 a.m. And for God and country, he's still here in the studio to educate us on how to stop this phenomenon. Guys, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Billy, let me start with you. I mean, do we have like a national preventative fire policy? Is there something like that?
Yeah, we have standard operative procedure in terms of fire prevention. That comprises other stakeholders, the NADMO, the electricity company, and few other stakeholders that assist in trying to ensure that actually fires are prevented. If you come to fire safety, it's a shared responsibility. It does not behove on only the fire service to ensure that fires are prevented. If I'm saying this, the public also has a very big role to play if really we want to prevent these fires. In the sense that, let's even pick it from our safety education level, where we have the safety educators, getting into premises to educate people. But that should not be enough. Educating people, the people themselves should also have a role to play in trying to ensure that those things are implemented. So the policy is there. The stakeholders are doing everything possible. But I think that we need to ensure that every stakeholder has a role to play. From where I'm sitting, my own assessment is that the public that has a bigger role to play is not really playing the role to complement the effort of all these other stakeholders. We keep saying that majority of these fire outbreaks that we are talking of are preventable. 90% of it are all preventable. In a situation where we even have the harmattan with us, where the harmattan has also taken the moisture content, the humidity, has reduced the ambient temperatures which all these combustible materials could burn. It behoves on each and every individual just to be committed. Let us ensure that we are committed as having to say that, you know, this is poison. You don't have to take in that poison. It will kill you, so you don't take it. We should also ensure that it is the same way that I want to prevent fire in my home. And it's a simple method. And we keep even saying that what we should do, even if we should pick it, because we have various types of fires. All fires are not the same. And then if you are talking of the nature of fires, prevention, if you want to prevent fires in your home, it is not too much different from preventing fire in the institutions. It's not different from preventing fire in the industries. There are only few variations that you could add up when it is
Billy,
like that.
Before, let me, sorry, but you know, you're talking about different types of fires.
Yeah.
The story here is that the fire and Tema were basically chemical fire and was being doused with water. Therefore, it takes longer to quench or probably even fuels it more. I mean, how true or false is that?
Well, in terms of the firefighters using water that has kept the fire that long, is that a question?
Yeah, no, that, you know, maybe they should have used foam.
I mean, are you talking of the firefighters or
yes,
the people before the firemen?
The firefighters.
Oh, no, that is not the issue. With the situation in Tema, I have been there the very morning that the fire occurred. I left there the following morning, 3 a.m. I have been with them. I have been part of the firefighting. If you look at the fire where we have various chemicals, to the extent that some of those chemicals are not even mixable with water. If they are not mixable with water, it becomes difficult to reduce their concentration. That will not even let them begin burning. So what they do is to even float on the water. So if you are using water, you might end up spreading it. So fire technicality will not use just water in fighting that fire. That's not what we do. We have water, and we try to induce into the stream of that water foam compound. So at the end of the branch, what comes out is foam, but not water. And again, that delay came because we have a lot of plastics. We have a lot of rubber in the warehouse. This rubber and plastic melted and have formed a coated layer on the surface of the burning substance. So you throw your medium of extinction, which is the foam, it goes and rested on the layer of the plastic. It is not having the full impact of the burning substance that is beneath it. So you are fighting, but because you have also not gotten a full access to the root of the fire, because you don't have a place to access it, it got to a time we only have to look for cranes and other things to break portions of the premises before we'll be able to get to where the fire is. Assessing the premises itself is not the problem, but assessing where the fire is was a problem. That is an aspect, because plastic has formed coated layer and the water is not getting there, has been one of the factors that delayed. The other factor, we had the wind kicking against us. The velocity of the wind at that time was so high that the wind was just fanning the fire from one point to the other. At the time that you see the fire running, even on the roofing, where we are checking it. So it becomes even difficult with the smoke emanating depending on the type of combustible material that were coming. So if you look at it from this perspective, it is not that anybody will say they were using water. We wouldn't even use raw water, but because of the foam. Even today, I left the place this evening when I have to rush down here. What we decided yesterday, when we have even extinguished the fire yesterday, and then we saw that the fire was down only for it to reignite because of the burning, the slow combustion within the coated thing. So the slightest oxygen that is introduced and it has sufficient oxygen will reignite. That was all that we are saying. So since yesterday we decided to use excavators to overturn the debris. We had a huge, mountains of debris packed within the place that was having a lot of high level of heat retained in them.
What size? I mean, for viewers, what size are we talking about? Maybe football field or?
Oh yes, if you look at the whole premises, it will be three sizes of a football pitch. It's a very vast area that has been gutted in this. And that is what I keep saying, that we should just be grateful the fire personnel got there in time when we received the call, because they were close adjoining premises of highly flammable, warehouses. They have drums of highly flammable substances that we need to check the water and ensure, to check the spread of the fire and ensure that those things were evacuated.
According to witnesses, from when they saw smoke and fire, and from the time the fire service received the call, there's about an hour missing in there.
Yeah, that has been the situation every time there is fire outbreak. We are surprised. We keep educating people that the moment you detect fire, it takes only 4 minutes for fire to be initiated or started within a premises. If you are not able to control it within 4 minutes, the next 1 minute that is added will have a lot of means of fire spread within the area. And then quickly, that 1 minute would push the fire to engulf the whole premises. So within these premises, God forbid that it doesn't happen. But if we are here now, there is fire, within 4 minutes, if you are not able to control it, 1 minute added, the whole premises will have taken it. So if you have fire and you think that you want to try your hands, and then it takes you more than 4 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, situation will have been out of hand, and you call out, we will get there. But then the fire has gotten roots. He has been able to sustain the heat that it needs to spread from one point to the other as early as possible, as fast as possible. That has been the situation.
Let me bring Nana Yao in here. Now, I don't know if you want to add to this before I ask you, because I wanted to find out from you. There's been a lot of education about fire, do this, call, but we don't seem to care. And it doesn't matter what happens. I mean, I'm sure even if the Flagstaff house burned down today, still, we don't care. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've done any psychology to find out why we just can't be bothered.
Well, I'm also in the same phase as you. For me, sitting here and talking about fires 3 years running in the media is a bit of a broken record for me. But somehow I think that we just have to continue talking about it. Today, we have heard that as a result of the misfortune at the Central Medical Stores, the Health Ministry have decided to ensure such facilities across the country. I believe it's also because we are talking. What is sad, nonetheless, is the fact that we have to incur such huge cost to the nation before we bring reason to prevail. The estimated cost of in excess of 237 million is a huge part of our budget. I mean, it's a significant, not huge, it's a very significant part of our budget. If you compare 237 million Ghana cedis to the total losses out of fire for 2014, which stands at 13 million Ghana cedis, then you know that what we have lost within that small premises is colossal. And for me, at the Bureau of Public Safety, we think that some way, somehow, somebody has to pay for this. It shouldn't just be.
No, sorry, before you continue. In any, I don't know if you use advanced country, the Minister of Health would have submitted his resignation by now.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't even wait for it.
Absolutely.
But what's going to happen is they're going to kick the driver out, sack the watchman, sack the security man, sack the doorman, and then business as usual.
Yes, and this is where we need civil society to come in, because the watchman, the driver, the cleaner, they may be a contributing factor, but they don't control the pest. They don't direct policy. They don't manage the premises. There's somebody who has been put in authority whose fuel is being purchased by the taxpayer, whose salary is being drawn from the taxpayers' contribution and all. And those people are the ones who must be called to account. And once again, it will be sad that, as a nation, we are good at window dressing. And I also want to bring in the media. Sometimes a little window dressing is good to get the media off your back. After the news that, well, we will now insure all medical stores around the country, you feel the sense of satisfaction within the media, as if that is okay. This is all we needed, but that is not all we needed. There are still public institutions, very, very critical ones, that are not complying to basic regulations, basic safety regulations. And last year we did a certain job at one of our critical facilities, which we submitted a report to the Ministry of Interior, damning basic safety, health, safety and security, things that must be implemented. They are not in place. And so these things happen and it takes all of us by surprise. But it's as if it takes all of us by surprise. But people knew this all along. I was saddened. This evening, someone just called me to monitor Joy FM, and that they said that the facility had extinguisher that had expired, that had been expired over 2 years.
Wow.
And it was even comforting to hear that it's over 2 years, because elsewhere there is none. Elsewhere there is none. This one, it is there, but that expired. And the fact that it has expired over 2 years brings to mind, if you know where the Central Medical Stores is located, it will blow your mind. It will probably make you even more angry, because the fire that gutted Tor, and I was there with Billy when it gutted Tor, the Tor facility, that fire virtually crawled behind the walls of the Central Medical Stores to reach the Tor facility. One would expect, like you said in the beginning, that one would have expected that after this fire crawled behind your facility, immediately you begin to think about those dangers. But nothing was done. It's Tor, so nothing was done. I tell you, today, the rubbish, what we call in local parlance boiler, that started the Tor incident, is still there, it's still burning. Okay, and there's Central Medical Stores in between that boiler and the Tor facility, and they decided that we are not going to even renew our extinguishers even after the Tor incident. And I think that should not be countenanced by any civil society. We should not countenance it. Somebody must pay for this. At least somebody should pay for this, so that it will serve as a deterrent. People will begin to take matters of health and safety, security of institutions at heart.
Billy, I'll divert a little bit and come back, but I don't know whose responsibility it is, but Bost has got these big reservoirs, in Tema. Has anybody checked to make sure that they are not joking with health and safety? Because as for that one, it's not like this one that will just burn and go away.
Yeah, I know Bost, they have their safety officers in place that have been even trained by fire personnel. I remember very well that they wanted even to buy certain rapid intervention firefighting vehicle, and they wanted an assistant from fire service to assess the vehicle to see if it would be viable and for their place. I remember very well, but I can't tell if that particular vehicle was actually bought, but I know they have put in place a lot of safety measures regarding.
Who's auditing it?
You mean the
fire audit? I mean the health and safety, or who's going to audit to say, oh yes, you're doing everything you're supposed to do?
Well, actually, initially we were working together with BOST in that safety direction. And I know they still have a link with our Tema regional office, where periodically they check some of those facilities that they have in there. So our people normally working to assess those things. But because I am not in Tema for now, I can't tell the last time that they have gone in to assess and to check their facilities to know if they are serviceable. But I know they are so much concerned if it comes to safety.
No, I'll bring you in on the same thing, but I say that because there's one in Hemel Hempstead in the UK, near Luton. When one tank exploded, they had it in France.
Yeah, it's true.
In France. From Hemel Hempstead in London. When he exploded, it crossed the Atlantic Ocean, they had it in Paris. So, I mean, As for that one, I don't think we can just wait for it to bend down and hear any speeches, but you were coming in.
Yeah, and I was saying that Billy's institution, the Ghana National Fire Service, is mandated by law to ensure that all institutions, every year train at least 40% of the staff. And I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 40% of the staff in firefighting and fire prevention and so on and so forth prior to the issuance of a fire certificate. If that simple law has been complied with, we probably will not have been here, because then it means that out of every 10 people, 4 persons or more, because if you are doing this every year, it doesn't take long to have 100% of your staff being fire literates, if you like, being skillful in fighting fire, understanding how to fight fire and so on and so forth. It would have been easy. We probably will not have been here. We probably will not be talking about triple digits, losses in triple digits. So it's important that maybe as we go along the line, we turn the limelight a little on the Ghana National Fire Service, because moving on, I think that we need them to really scream and start to bite. Otherwise, everybody will just do it as and when they like, or if they so wish, and all of us will have to bear the loss.
I mean, Billy, because of how our system is worked, I mean, the fire boss is chosen by the president, and therefore he will find it difficult to probably walk into, let's say, BNI and say, listen, you're not complying, I'm locking it up, because otherwise then tomorrow go on retirement, and he also needs to pay his kids' school fees. So in that system, how then do you, Billy, walk into government establishment and say, listen, you're not coming to work tomorrow unless you do A, B, C, D. Your hands are tied because of how the system is.
But I agree with you perfectly. It was based on that I think when the Foreign Affairs building was on fire, thereafter, the fire service decided to have fire safety audit in all government, premises, departments, and all other things. Then that's what we've been doing. If I should show you the list, premises that we've gone to with their recommendations, you go back and those recommendations are not implemented. We need to call a spade here. Those recommendations are not implemented. They are still there. And you ask yourself if really we are thinking of the protection of the premises and the protection of the life of the people that work in there. Because if you fail to implement those safety measures cut across. We are looking at adequate exits in terms of evacuation when there is any emergency within the premises where people are working. We are looking at early detection and warning system that in case the fire occurred, it could be in the daytime where people should know as early as possible that the fire has occurred, then they should be able to evacuate themselves without any external assistance. Apart from that, you are thinking of even in the night where everybody has closed and they lock up the offices and they are gone, leaving the security men and the watchmen. If something happened in an office, if you have an early detection and warning system, it will alarm for the security men as early as possible to know that there is fire in there. Unlike waiting till the fire grows big in the office, has taken control of the office and show its head through the window, it will be too late at that time. The other aspect we look at is the firefighting facilities, including extinguishers and hose rule and anything that it takes. So if really we are trying as a country, and I stated it here, that fire safety is a shared responsibility of all others. Fire service has played a role. We have been able to identify those premises and have recommendation. But it becomes difficult, like you are saying, that you walk into a sister service and said, yes, we are closing down these premises because you have not met this and met that. It's like you are shooting yourself, at the back. You should understand this, or a dog is biting a dog, because it's difficult to go into that direction. I remember about 4 years ago, when we were closing down premises that do not comply with the LI 1724 fire precaution premises regulation of 2003. that has made it, clear that certain commercial premises, institutions, hotels and other places should mandatory that they should have a fire certificate. We're closing down premises, we're closing down hotels, even filling stations were part of it. But I can't say that we were able to close down a single government department or installations anywhere. So it becomes difficult.
And that's the reason why we are where we are today. I think it makes sense that they want to protect their jobs. It makes sense that they want to be politically correct. But this is the cost of being politically correct. And I think last Sunday I had the privilege of appealing to the new Chief Fire Officer, Dr. Gazy, that he's got to sympathize with the people of Ghana. He's got to bite. He's got to do what he's been brought to do to ensure that the taxpayer is protected, to ensure that society is protected. He's got to move in there. I'm not surprised. I don't know, the Foreign Affairs building got burnt how many years ago?
Yeah,
I think
2008?
I'm not too sure, but
2008.
Yes, just about that time, a lot of the institutions were audited, and since then they've not gone back to those institutions to go and find out whether those audit recommendations have been implemented.
No, that is not it. We go back, and it's even ongoing. We have not even ceased it. It's ongoing, and we'll get back to. That's what I'm aware that most of those ones are not implemented.
Okay. So here comes the point that if the recommendations, those recommendations are not implemented, it could be largely due to the fact that it's been stashed somewhere in someone's shelf. It could be that the recommendations, because nobody knows, it's only one person who knows, so he's keeping it to his chest. We have been on record as having to say that, look, with issues of safety, health, public security and all those things, there are those that are sensitive, there are those that must be protected. But majority of these, he said that safety is a shared responsibility. We need to know that in 2009, this is what the Ghana National Fire Service said about the central medical stores. We need to know that following that recommendation in 2013, this is what they said. So we go look for whoever is the leader or the head at that place and kick him out. But when we don't know what has been said, all we know is that, well, the institution was audited and we submitted the report and people are not acting and all. How can we, for once, hold somebody responsible? We need to know. So some of these things, when you audit and you don't put it out there, it encourages people to sit down.
These days, leak it in the public.
Forget about leak it.
We have intercepted a report.
You mentioned in advanced societies. Our society is advancing. We must copy what is done in advanced societies. Today, when there is a plane crash, or if there is a plane crash in the US, within a week, they will tell you preliminary causes or circumstances leading to that. In Ghana, there was this plane that skidded off the runway at the airport. We are being asked to wait for 30 days. 30 days before they issue preliminary report. I don't know what is it about us in this country. We must strive, we must begin to ask questions. People who have been put in places to work must begin to work, and we must douse this whole thing about secrecy and all those things. If you've made an audit, and I'm appealing to Dr. Gazy at the Ghana National Fire, please make sure that a lot of these reports are put in the public domain. That is the only way that we can also get to appreciate the work that your institution is doing. Otherwise, civil society will continue to bash you and lump you up with all the non-performing regulatory institutions.
I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, we're still talking fires. Don't even move. Well, fire on the mountain, or fire in Ghana, if I may say. Now, according to our sources off air, all ministries have been audited. and they've all been giving them recommendation as to what to do. Only 2 ministries have complied, Finance and Defense, so we applaud them. The rest are all languishing there, waiting for it to burn down. After all, it's not their father's property. When Ministry of Finance burned down, the minister just moved to another office, business as usual. Until we learn to sack them when they misbehave, that's what's going to happen. But joining us now is James Ohiminche, who's president of Pharmaceutical Society in Ghana. We just want to find out that, will this have any impact? Because we hear that there's 3 months supply across board, so we shouldn't panic. James, you're welcome.
Yeah, please, could you speak louder?
Okay.
It's very faint. I hardly hear you.
Okay, you are loud and clear. I don't know if I'm clear now. I'm raising my voice.
No, please, you are not clear.
No, okay, I'll get the producers to try and call back. Let's try and call James back and see if we'll get a better line. But I'll come in studio and let me start with Nanaya. Nanaya, I mean, our sources tells us that fire service indeed have done their job. They've gone round checking all the. And let me put on record. It's not Billy, so don't hold Billy. This is my own personal source.
Yeah, and I try to corroborate it.
Yeah. So, of all the ministries that have been checked, there's only Finance and Defense that have implemented. Just in case if there's a fire, they have a better chance of stopping. The rest haven't done anything.
You know, there is, unfortunately, I have to speak a bit in general terms.
Okay, I got James back, so let me try again. James, is it any better now?
A bit
better. Okay, I just wanted to find out how safe are we in terms of medical supplies? The state is telling us that we shouldn't panic because there's 3 months supply across board. But I mean, you are in the thick of things. What do you say?
I think that I agree with the Honorable Minister of Health.
Okay.
You know, by policy, the central medical stores normally holds 12 months stock for each of the essential medicines and non-drug medical consumables. Now, the regional medical stores normally holds 6 months stock.
Okay.
And hospitals and other service delivery points normally hold 3 months stock. You know, so all things being equal, there is no need to panic.
Okay.
In the very short term. So I agree with the Honorable Minister of Health.
James, now correct me if I'm wrong, because even when the place wasn't burnt down, you hear all the time that I went to this pharmacy and I was told there's no medicine. I went to the pharmacy and I was told medicine. We hear these stories all the time. So it's amazing that now it burns down. We are told that, oh, don't worry, everything is there. Because even when it wasn't burnt, we hear complaints about shortages.
Well, you see, we are talking about essential medicines.
Okay.
You know, some medicines may not be essential.
Ah, okay.
You know, there are so many hematinics, very fancy hematinics that are all over the place. They are not essential medicines.
Okay.
But we are talking about essential medicines.
Okay. Give me about 3 essential medicines. I mean, so our viewers can understand and not panic.
Oh, anti-malaria medicines.
Okay.
Antibiotics.
Okay.
And some of these very useful pillars.
Let's say the HIV one, the antiretrovirals.
Yes, it's an essential medicine.
Okay, and
they have anti-TB medicines and antiretrovirals are program medicines. So they are in a class of their own.
And there's enough supply of that?
Well, in the facilities, you see, it is worrying, you know, if nothing is done, you know, after some time. You know, because if, for example, there's an interruption in TB treatment, then you have some what we call MDR TB, multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, and that is very difficult to manage and expensive too. So, at least for now, I don't think there is cause for alarm.
Okay.
So, as I said, I agree with the minister, but we have to work very fast. We have to be very proactive to ensure that there will be no shortages.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's reassuring, James, and thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so basically, let me start with you, Billy. So now, I think you need to move your teams to the regional stock that are holding the 3-month supply to make sure that
it is protected.
It is protected. You know, so how do we do that if it's possible? Because now they are also sort of government entities, and because of how we are unable to tell them that, look, Jack, you can't be doing this. So it's a very delicate issue, but how do we protect them?
Well, actually, I think this is a period where everybody should be concerned and committed to fire safety. If you look at the Hamilton...
No, but we will not. Yes. If you don't arrest us, we won't. I mean, yes. Everything is bent down, and still we don't care.
Yes, but I am looking at it, from which angle that we're going to, but it's possible that as an agency, we could, with our safety, inspection that we've been doing, we can prioritize that and get to some of those premises quickly to assess their safety measures.
Before you continue, I mean, my source tells me, and it's a credible source, that all ministries, departments, and agencies have been audited, and they've told them politely, put a fire extinguisher there, unchain the safety lock, do this, clear the wires off the floor. They've told them everything. Only Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Defense have done it. Ministry of Health itself, they haven't done it. So why would their subsidiary in Bodriasi or Dumasa or something, why would they do it when even the big boss haven't done it?
Yeah, I think that is the biggest problem that I attempt that. If you see the frustration attempt that the fire personnel get to just getting into premises to educate people, you appreciate the work of the firemen. I have been part of those things before, and there's several letters even to the MD or whoever is in control that just even give out your people to be trained into fire safety. Wardens, for them to have the eyes to identify hazards with your premises, to know what to do in case of an emergency. Sincerely, the frustration has to go and come. The MD is not there. A whole lot of things. At times you get there, the MD is not even willing to even meet you. But at the end of it all, when the pressure is mounted on the person and they want to give up people to train, you'll be surprised the caliber of people that are brought in there. The cleaners, the people that do not have what it takes. Firefighting or fire safety is not just a matter of massive application of water. It's science on itself. Chemistry of combustion, you need to understand the aspect of that before you be able to even appreciate and know what exactly is being told. But because of the mentality of they thinking, like some of them are boldly saying that they live in these premises for several years, it has never been fire, so they don't think fire will also occur. So you pass through all this, then it becomes difficult. But as you are saying, yes, the boss has not implemented it. How can it be replicated in all other areas of places? But our LI 1724 fire precaution premises regulation, and I think we also, as a service, the fire service also need to relook at those things and where we could push in and then begin to have a punitive measure into some of these, departments that are flouting it in spite of being in government or something, which will have a way of trying to force them to implement.
I hope Dr. Gazy can, pull a surprise. But Nanaya, one thing that I really, really hated working outside of landing was fire drills. That you could be in the middle of, you've only got like 10 minutes to submit something. And then, and you don't know whether it's a fire or it's a drill. Then you have to go and assemble, only for them to come and tell you, oh no, it's a fire drill. And you're thinking, do you know how busy I am? But almost every week, there was either 1 or 2 fire drills. And at any given time of the day, and you could be with a customer, and you tell the customer, let's go. He's going for a bag. He said, no, don't take anything, just leave the building. I've never seen any fire drills.
It's a sign of a serious society, isn't it? This morning, I think I heard on radio, whether you were there, I don't know. Someone said, I think it was said, they were quoting KSM, who said, we have all the answers to our problems, but we can't find the solution. That's the problem with this country. We all know, look, the problems, the challenges that underpins all of these fires. Billy sitting here knows all of it. His boss knows all of it. The team that works there, they all know. but we can't find the solution. Why is the case? Look, this publication here in Times, that the PR of National Fire Service, I don't know which of them, but one Mr. Robinson, was said to have said most fire hydrants had been sealed and that it made it difficult for the service to get access to water. Look, we've known this since time immemorial. Not a single chief executive of any of our cities have said that, look, because of this problem, I am moving out there to ensure that wherever there is a fire extinguisher, we expose it and make it clean and make it accessible. Because of this, I'm making sure that for wherever they are going to start development, there must be extinguisher hydrants. We know. They have said here that accessibility to fire scenes also pose a lot of challenges during emergencies. Look, today, when you go to any premises in the United States of America, any premises, you will see fire markings on the ground visible. How many institutions in this country have you gone there to see fire markings on the ground? Everybody is parking anywhere. The best case scenario is that they will just show you where to park and where not to park. You don't see a fire lane. You don't see an emergency lane. So we as a country itself, we have just decided to shut down our senses to fire management and fire emergencies because we know what the challenges are. We know what the problems are. But nobody is taking up that challenge, that discipline, that good heart to take up what has to be done to do. We have seen several fires in Tema. When the Thor fire came, fire service were complaining about access to hydrants. Okay? That's just about 6 months ago. 6 months on, still access to hydrants. Nobody is saying, look, because of this, Tema is an industrial city, I am moving out there. If you have any facility, we are coming with the 1960 plan. When we come and this place is supposed to be a hydrant, I'm clearing the building. Nobody has got the will to do it. And so that's why we at the Bureau of Public Safety say that if the Ghana National Fire Service does not take up its mandate without recourse to politics and being politically correct, if the leadership, political leadership, does not remain accountable to the citizens in this regard, we will continue to see fires and fires over several years to come. It's not going to cease because today, tomorrow, fire service is not going to look for the hydrants to make sure that we can see, everybody can see hydrant and stay clear of. They are going back to their base to go and wait for the next fire and come and fight it. And that is unfortunate because I have worked with Ghana National Fire Service. I've worked with them at all levels. And I tell you that they are very well committed people in the service. There are people who are doing the work with passion. So if I want to mention Dr. Gezi and continue to mention him so that he's aware that a lot depends on him. We would want to see the service take up a new character, a new persona under his leadership. That it was under Dr. Gezi's leadership that they shut down this government facility for not complying with the fire regulations. Just as they will move in with TV cameras and a task force and go and shut down private institutions and commercial buildings and warehouses, they should be able to move in there because that is even a greater cause. That's what we are looking at. We cannot sit and say that we know the problem. These problems are not new. This is January 12, 2015 newspaper. But I tell you, if we should take 8 years ago newspaper, these problems are not new. And Billy here will agree with me that they are not new. They didn't realize that the hydrants are sealed off only after the Central Medical Stores fire.
No, that is not it. I'm just calling to make corrections when it comes to my theme. The issue is different in the sense that since 1993, the fire service had been fighting. The fire service, okay, let me put it this way: the fire service and the water company have been having challenges as to, installation of fire hydrants and making them readily available for the fire service.
Those challenges? What are those
because
challenges?
they said the fire service was selling the water. You were siphoning the
No,
water.
no,
to go
but
and
then
sell.
even if that, is there any justification for water company to say fire service is selling water? So you go in to seal hydrants in the community?
Are you suggesting that the water company sealed off
Yeah,
those
Yes,
hydrants?
it has been it has been in the media domain.
Both of them.
That is it.
They
It has
sealed
been
up
several
because
years we'll be talking about
said
it.
that-
Meanwhile, people are paying 1%. Every customer who pays to water company, 1% is paid to one company for firefighting. That is for the installation and servicing of hydrant. And the specification of hydrant installation, every 100 meters, you should have a hydrant along the roads and even scattered in the communities. Our situation is to move a tender into the community. As we start fighting, we couple our hoses to the hydrant and have uninterrupted water supply. But that has not been the situation. We have called on them severally, and we want them to know and understand that it is important that the hydrants are working. A situation where we get to the ground within 10-15 minutes, water is finished, we have to go and look for it. It's always kicking against our efficiency. But if you are saying that we sell water, then we are expecting...
That's what Ghana Water is saying.
Yeah,
that's why they seal it.
But that's precisely the point I'm talking about. There is a chief executive responsible for TEMA. How can this go on under your watch when you are responsible for TEMA? You cannot sit aloof and say let all the institutions do what they please, and the chief executive watches on. That is
Let me
irresponsible.
The hydrant in question I'm talking about is the one next to the then Vice President Mahama's house in Cantonment, was sealed off because they said that there were people coming to take the water and it was disturbing him. So they blocked it.
Do you know what happens to you if you tamper with a fire hydrant in very civil or advanced societies?
It's a big crime.
It's punishable by law. We cannot say that
but I don't know if we have
people
the
are
same
tampering with it, and so we should
yes,
seal them.
those things, that is, the law is there. You know, those are for life protection, and that you are not to tamper with those. But I only say that our laws are really not working, because if we were to be somewhere, I believe even the civil society, knowing and understanding the importance of hydrants within their community, it's not fire service who should even be crying for hydrants in communities. The civil society who understand that their life depends on the availability of hydrant the water is also passing through. They will even call on water companies that we pay 1%, each person pay 1% for the installation. Where are the hydrants in our community when we are taking the money? But I think everybody is looking at it that it is the responsibility of the fire service. The fire service is saying it, and then if you have a justification to say that, oh, we won't put it because you sell the water, it doesn't affect the fire service directly, but the people, the community, the civil society that have paid for it. So we have even gone ahead and we are suggesting that if you not even the hydrant per se, and you think that probably your water, the treated water is being used for all this, you can, let hydrant make a borehole, make boreholes available that the fire service could get in because it's mechanized instead of the hydrant that is treated water you are talking of. When you have boreholes all within the system, nobody gets in to pick your treated water. You are taking the money and you have that fund to do it, so you should be able to provide that. But it's like every day we are coming in, it's like it becomes a fight between the fire service and the water company. Everybody, stand aloof and nobody is trying to, but I believe there was a time the consumer Kofi Capito also came in, called the water company and the fire service, arranged a meeting based on all these hydrants. But what have been the improvements? So all that we are saying the fire service is doing a lot. We have a team that is even going now to identify and to recover some of those hydrants that have been pushed under structures, some that are buried under debris. We are recovering them. We are digging them out. But the other aspect is...
only for water company to come and seal off.
Yeah, and some of them, they are there, like the TEMA issue. We located 3 hydrants within the premises there. But water was not passing through. You have the hydrant.
Sprinklers. A facility like that. I mean, will sprinkler not be a basic thing that they should have, sprinklers?
Well, I think it would depend on what they have in there, and it would depend on probably, I'll just give you an example. For instance, a server room. If you have a server room, you cannot install water sprinklers there. There are other fire extinguishing media that you can install. So yes, sprinkler is one form of installation that can prevent, not prevent, but fight the fire in its early stages.
Let's use this particular premises.
Facility.
Being that it was medicines and they are all either covered or wrapped, I'm sure a sprinkler wouldn't have done too much damage.
No, it does. That is why, like he is rightly saying, that's where we have chemicals and other things. You could have inert gases, you know, total flooding system of inert gases. It could be CO2, it could be FM 200, and those other gases. Argon, there are certain areas that they also use argon. So these inert gases could have been used there. Those are some of the safety measures that need to be put in place if really you want to have protection of some of those. The issue is just about, I don't know, attitudinal change that we need to have for now. Who says that people in that premises, specifically if we are talking of this premise, who says that people in that premises do not know about all that we are saying now? Who says that the fire personnel have not gone in even to advise people on some of these issues? But then, you know, it's about the commitment, our mentality that it will not even happen. But I keep saying that anytime I get out and I'm educating people within the period that I've educated people on fire safety, quickly they are already, oh, where can I get an extinguisher to buy? Where can I get smoke detector? A day or two, you want to find out the game, you give them numbers as well, you find out from the, oh, have you gotten it? No. Oh, I'll do it. I'm just organizing myself. I'll do it. I'm just, but I keep saying it's about life. People have died in fire not because the fire itself has gotten to where they were sleeping, but because of the inhalation, even leakages of gas, inhalation of carbon monoxide at times from the burning, you know, substance into the. If you have a smoke battery smoke detector, how much is it? Simple in your room, you will be able to protect. One thing I keep saying, and I'll keep, you know, keep surprising me is people have their premises, their building, and you realize that they have barricaded all those things with burglar proof. Fixed one, of course. Some of those are very expensive to the extent that they are not even meeting the building code, which says that if you want to live in a premises that will house from 1 person to 500, you should have a minimum of 2 exits. Which means if you are in a single room, you should have a minimum of what? 2 exits. We are not meeting this standard, yet we are barricading those because of the armor rubber that we have in mind, without a single extinguisher to have in the home, without a single smoke detector to protect life. It is unfortunate.
Let me give you 30 seconds to round it up.
Well, at the Bureau of Public Safety, our appeal in these periods have been just one. We have appealed, you know, personally to Dr. Gazy that we know that his men want to work, his men are hardworking. You should give them all the backing they need. Forgetting about being politically correct. Let them go out there, close down institutions if they have to. Let them go out there, name and shame institutions if they have to, so that we can, for once, enjoy some civility when it comes to fire safety in this country.
Well, folks, you heard it here. Of all the ministries, departments, and agencies that have been audited, only Ministry of Finance and Defense that have complied. The rest haven't. I mean, Julius, Deborah is my man. How could you not comply in your ministry? Come on, Julius. Don't let me down. Of all the championing, I'm championing for you. Don't let me down on this. All the other ministers, including the Minister of Health, who's jumping up and down his ministry, his head office, the audit, the recommendation, he has not applied to it. Now that is a shame. That demands resignation, isn't it? But Dr. Gazy, I think your name has been mentioned so many times. You must be the difference you want to see. Thank you very much for watching, but tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again.